Okay, good morning. My name is Mwalimu Ngwata. Today I want to take you through this question on rise and fall method in leveling survey. This question was in the October-November 2021 series KNEC examination, and it had a total of 12 marks, 12 and a half marks actually. So how do you solve this question? So first, there is information that you have been given. You've been given, it's extracted from a full leveling sheet that was developed in maybe in the field or somewhere. So you have the summations. You must note you have the sum of the backside. That is very important. You're going to use that. And then you have been given the various readings that you are supposed to help you now generate all the missing data within this leveling sheet. So to begin with, we have the reduced level. We have only one reduced level. And this reduced level is going to guide us to get all the others. And also this summation of the backside, it is also going to help us because it's a sum of all these. So we are going to use it to get one of them. So the way rise and fall works is, rise and fall, when you go to the field, always the first reading in leveling is always the backside. So you read the first backside. For this one, they read the backside, and then immediately they read a foresight. Whenever you read a foresight, on the same line, there must be a backside. So he read a backside and continued on to read the intermediate side, read a foresight, then had a backside, and so on and so forth. So how do we get these values that we don't have? For rise and fall, we always subtract the first reading that was read, which is always, for the first reading, it's always a backside, and we minus it with the second reading that was read. The first reading that was read minus the second reading, in that order. We always take the first reading, and we minus the second reading. So always start with you. The first reading you read, you have booked. The first reading you have booked, you minus the consequent second reading. So for us here, it was the backside to the foresight. So it is this minus this. So when you take that first reading and you minus, even if it was this other second one, it will be this minus this minus this. But then when you get to the final foresight, when you go to a backside, you start again at the backside. It's a new set. So this one is minus this. You get your either a rise or a fall. After that, since this is a foresight and you're going back to a backside, this is a new set. So this one you completed there. So you start minusing now from here. You take this one, you minus this one. Then this one minus this one. Whenever you get to the foresight, that's the end of that set. You begin another set. So the next set will be this one minus this. So when you take the first reading, which now for us here is a backside, and you minus the second reading, which is a foresight, whatever value you get will either be a minus or a plus. If it is a minus, you write it under fall. If it is a plus, you write it under rise. So for example, like this one, if you take this one minus this one, you'll get a negative value because this one is smaller than this. When you get a negative value, you can even see the examiner had already indicated that this reading, this calculation here will give you a fall, because this will be minus. So the same thing means that since our value here is on the fall, it was a minus. So it means that our value here was larger than this one. Yeah, I hope you're getting that. Our value here must have been larger than this, because it is this reading minus this reading that will give us a negative, and that negative is this one. So this reading must be larger than this. So how do we get this reading? We take this one and we add this one, so that you can get this reading. And immediately we add this. I have already added that for you. So we replace this x. So this plus this, we replace this x, and we get that the value here is 3.850. So we have gotten our first faucet. I hope you have gotten that. This one plus this one give us this. But if we have this value now, like now we have it, if you take this minus this, it will give you a negative value. Whenever you get a negative value in the rise and fall, you write it under fall. It's a negative, it's a fall. So to our next step, after you get to the first side, that set is over. You move on to another set. So this one, you take the first reading, which is this reading, and you minus this one. Yeah. So this minus this will give you your fall, what the value is, and that is that will give you a 1. The fall here is 1.030. That is our fall. That's our level there. Then we proceed to the next one. So this one, the next you're going to calculate is an intermediate side. You minus it with the first side. So how do you go about that? So it is this minus this. Obviously, you can clearly see that this one is smaller than this. So this will be a positive number whenever you minus this, when you minus this and this. So when you get a positive number, it's always a rise. So what is the value there? You can minus 2.20 minus 1.50, that becomes 0.35. It is 0.35. We have our rise there. Next step now. After that, we say that when we get to the fourth side, that set is over. That set is over. We begin another set. So our next set here is this reading minus this reading, and it gives us a fall here. So how are we going to get this? If it is a fall, it means that this reading is larger than this. Yeah? It means this is larger than, because it is the first reading minus the second reading. So the first reading minus the second reading give us a negative value. Yeah? So it means this one is smaller. So we are going to take this one and minus this, so that we can get this. And we get that that value is, this one is 2.430. 2.430. That's how we get our value there. And if you minus, you decide to first reading minus this, you'll get, it's a negative value, and it will go to the fall. Next, we move now to this one minus this one, and it is giving you a rise. So if it is giving you a rise, it means this value is smaller than this one, because it is this reading minus this reading that is giving you a positive value, and that positive value is a rise. So you minus, you take this one, you minus this one, so that you can get this one, because this one is a smaller value than this. So this minus this will give you this. But since you don't have this, you take this minus this, you get this value, and that value will be 1.3 1.340. And you can counter check, you pick this one minus this, you get your value there. We are progressing on. We said after we get to the first site, we are done with that set, we begin another set. So this next set says that this value minus this far side, yeah, here you are going to deal with only the back side and the far side. This minus this gives you this. That's a very difficult one. You don't have any of the values. Yeah. So for now, we are going to skip this one. I'm going to show you how we are going to get this value. I'm going to show you how we are going to get this value. So we progress on to the next one. The next one is, we are done with that set, so we go to the next set. It is this minus this. Notice here that this is a negative reading that is there. And it is negative because we are told the stuff was held inverted. So the stuff was held upside down. Maybe they were reading a soffit of a roof or something like that. So if it is negative, it means it is this minus this. So it becomes a positive. And you can see when the examiner had put the value for you on the rise, it means the answer you're getting here is a positive value. And if you get a positive value, you take it to rise. So this minus this gives you 3.92. Gives you 3.92. 3.920. That's our value there. The next we go to, it is first reading, which is this one minus this one. So this is minus becomes a negative because the minus. So even the examiner had already given us it's a fault, it's there. The next value is, when you're done with that, that set is over. Go to the next set. Next set is this minus this, you get it's a fault. So it definitely tells you that this value is lesser than this. So to get this value, we are going to take this one, we minus this one, so that we can get this value because it is lesser than this. And that value is 0.72. 0.720. So we have our values, some for the far side, all for the far side. For the far side, we have our values. For the back side, we don't have one value. But you remember I told you we had our summation that we have been given here, the sum of all the back sides. This will help us get now this value. So we'll add, because the total of this is supposed to give you this. So you'll add what you have, and then you minus from this to get this value, which is very easy. That is simple. You add all these which you have, 3.150, 1.170, 2.430, 1.185, 0.72, and you get a value. And that value you minus from this sum. And when you minus from this sum, you'll get this. And that value, our value here was 3.4. Our value here you'll get is 3.4. That's our value there. So when you get this value now, you can easily get the rise here. Very easily we can get this value here. And the value here is the first reading, which is the back side, minus the consequent second reading, which is our far side here for now. So this minus this will give us this, and which was 1.39. It is 1.39. 1.390. So now we have our readings. We have filled up our back sides, our intermediate sides, our far sides, and rise and fall. So we need to fill out the reduced levels next. How we get reduced level for rise and fall? We take the value that is the level that is the reduced level that is preceding, yeah, that is above the value that you have, and then if it is a fall, If it is a fall, you minus. So for here, if this is a fall, this reduced level, it is this reduced level value here, x minus this will give you this. Yeah, I hope you get that. So this value, this reduced level, minus this, since this is a fall, you'll get this. The next, you also use the same thing. You take this x, this reduced level, you minus this, because it's a fall, you get this value. Now for the next one, this is a rise, this is a rise. When you have a rise, we always add it. So you take this reduced level, and you add to this one, you get your reduced level here. The next one, it's a fall, so it is this minus this, you get this one. The next one is a rise, it is this plus this one, you get this. This one is a rise, so you get this plus this, you get this. I hope you have understood that. So you can now clearly work your way back from this, right? Because the way we got this one is we took this x, we added this because it's a rise, and we got this. So for us to get this, we are going to minus this one, right? We are going to minus this one, and our value here is going to be, take this, you minus this, you are going to get 220.81. Okay, to get here 220.810. That is our reduced level for that point. The next point is the same thing. It was a rise. So when it was a rise, we took this reduced level and we added to this one. So it was this plus this gave us this. So for us to get this to be this minus this, we get this one. So when we minus that, we get 219.71. 219.710. Yeah, I hope you have understood. So we have taken this minus this and we've gotten this. Because the way we get this is this plus this, we get this. Right? The next thing here we have is a fall. Since it's a fall, it means we took this value, we minus this one, so that we got this. So for us to get this, we have to take this plus this, so that we can get this. And that gives us 219.720. 219.720. That is our reduced level there. Next case happens here. So it was this plus this that gave us this, right? So for us to get this to be this minus this, we get this value. And it is going to be 219.37. 37, yeah. 219.370. That is our reduced level at that point. We continue back up. This value we got by this, because it's a fall, we minused. So this was this reduced level minus this value fall that give us this. So for us to get this, we have to take this plus this one, so that we can get this, which will be, we'll get 220.4. 220.400. Yeah, that's our reduced level at that point. The same thing happened here. So for us to get, since it is a fall, we took this reduced level, we minus this, we got this. So for us to get this, we have to take this plus this and get this one, because we are going the reverse way. So for us, that will be 221.100. Good. So we have our first reading now. We have gotten our first reduced level. We have it there now. So we can progress and get these other ones. These are easier now because it is the reduced level. Now this is how we do it when we have the rise and fall, and when we have the the first reduced level. You always take now this the reduced level. If it is a rise, you add. So for example here, it is a rise which is 1.390. So you are going to take, no, sorry, not that one. You're going to use we are looking for this next level. So for this next level, we are using this rise. The next level, the next lines calculated rise and fall. So it is going to be 222.2 plus 3.92, and you get a value here. Remember, when it is a rise, you are adding. When it is a fall, you are minusing. You are going to see it here down. So when we add that, here we get 226.120. That's our reduced level there. The next one, it is a fall, so it is this minus this, and you get 221.700. 221.700. The next thing happens, the same thing. It is a 4, so it is this level minus this, and you get to the 220.895. Good. So we have completed our table, our reduced level worksheet that was taken in the field, and we have filled all the blanks. So the next thing we need to do, we need to do a check. We need to check if our readings are correct and if we had any errors. So how do we check? The check is always the summation. The check is always the summation of all backsides minus summation of all four sides is equals to summation of rise minus summation of fall, which is also equals to the first reduced level minus the last. The last reduced level minus the first. Sorry for that. The last reduced level. The other check we have is the last reduced level. Last reduced level minus first reduced level. All these should be equal to one value. Yeah. Then you take the sum of the backside, which you are given initially. Then we look for the sum of the four sides here. The sum of the four sides is 12.26. 12.26. 12.260. 12.260. The way you get this is you just add all these four sides. You add them and you get your summation. The rise, the same thing. You add all of them and you get your summation, which is 6.76. The same thing. You add all these four. You add all of them together. You get 6.965. So when you have all those values, now you can do your checks very easily. Yeah, we said the sum of the backside minus the sum of the foreside. The sum of the backside minus the sum of the foreside will give you a value which is negative 0.205. That is the sum of backside minus the sum of foreside, and it should be equals to the sum of rise minus the sum of fall. The sum of rise is this minus the sum of fall is this, and it gives us the same value. You can minus this one and this. 6.76 minus 6.965 965. You get the same value, which is negative 0.205. Yeah. The next check you can do, and you see, so our working is very good, because you can see this one is the same value, and also the difference between the sum of the rise and the sum of fall is the same value, 0.205. 0.205. Then we take our last reading. This is 220. We minus 221.100. 220.895 minus 221.100, and you're going to get the same value, which is negative 0.205, and that completes the check for us. The workings we have done here is correct, everything is correct, and that's how we solve that question. We'll meet next time. Thank you.